The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, Donatello's Statue of David, Judith beheading Holofernes. These are all works of art. This right here? Fuck no. CBS's long-running soap opera Guiding Light has a more legitimate claim to aesthetic credulity, if for no other reason than the fact that it stands as a testament to the human ability to endure a thespian enema that spans the better part of a century. Let me say at the outset that I thoroughly enjoyed the many hours I spent immersed in the world of Heavy Rain in the same way that I walked away satisfied from every other decent point-and-click mystery game I've played before. Despite the fact that Heavy Rain's gameplay amounts to a prolonged digital equivalent of Simon Says, at its core it's a point-and-click game in the tradition of Still Life or the many Sherlock Holmes PC games, and within that context, it rips ass, to be quite honest. The problem, of course, is that about 5 minutes into Heavy Rain, it becomes nut-smashingly apparent that this game has no interest in playing to its strengths, instead devolving into a God of War without the action at best, and glorified pornography without all the sex at worst. Which is fine, I'm certainly a student of the do-whatever-the-fuck-you-want school of thought, so by all means, Quantic Dream, make whatever kind of game you want, but don't run your mouths about how artistic and meaningful it is, then introduce a gratuitous nude shower scene crotch shot to the equation. All that does is make you the video game industry equivalent of the scraggly hipster douchebag on every college campus that strums his shitty acoustic guitar and makes himself out to be some sensitive little cunt, all the while taking the opportunity to cram his stubby little member into the crotch of every dim-witted slag that falls for his silly routine. Up until the trust fund runs out at any rate. But all of this is fairly academic. We all know that Heavy Rain isn't a work of art. It's a passable, quasi-interactive movie with a decent story and multiple narrative paths that ultimately lead you to the same ending. A bit like Mass Effect with double the dialogue and half the gameplay. I know, I pissed and moaned about Mass Effect 2's god-awful metamorphosis into a Gears of War clone. But at least Gears of War has gameplay. It may be gameplay that requires brain activity just a few steps above what a single-celled organism might possess, but hey, at least I'm not walking around like an asshole making tuna sandwiches for my retarded son. The Heavy Rain experience is divided into two equal halves. Side 1 consists of staring at loading screens, usually one featuring the game's main character who looks like he was bludgeoned to within an inch of his life with a great big stick called Down Syndrome, and the other half consists of one long-ass reaction time test that just will not fucking end. As I said earlier, if you want to make a game centered around the player's reaction time, that's fucking fancy, but at least do it right. Don't bore me to tears with turning lights on and off, reading the newspaper, brushing my teeth, and all other manner of menial shit, then suddenly require me to press triangle not to be run over by a bus. I also love how cunt-fuckingly temperamental the button presses and 6-axis controls are at crucial moments. Look, I get it, Quantic Dream, you were saved from the brink of bankruptcy by Sony's purchase of your company, and now that you're first party, you have to show off the PS3's pointless and buggy 6-axis controls, but mother... Fuck! Don't stake my character's life on a touchy, unreliable gimmick. More than once I died because of that buggy, unresponsive mess. It's like if Mass Effect or Fable had required me to use the 360's pointless HD DVD add-on simply to whore a Microsoft product. I'd be pissed about it either way, but the moment I have to stare at a game over screen because I stopped just short of throwing my controller against the ceiling, that's the moment it's time to admit that your 6-axis controls are broken. I also love how every nose hair in the characters' noses has been lovingly polished to a glossy sheen, yet a simple game mechanic like walking seems to elude these assholes. Hold the fuck up, David Cage. You mean to tell me that this game was delayed not once, but twice? Yet in none of that time did anyone pipe up and say, hey guys, the characters can't fucking walk. They probably painstakingly corrected every bug in this game from A to Z, yet left the main characters walking like they're recovering from a horrific motorcycle accident, probably one caused by the slutty news reporter chick who never seems to change her clothes. And no, calling her slutty isn't comedic hyperbole. This woman meets the main character at 8 o'clock and is wiping his semen off her chest at 8:02, which would make more sense if the guy wasn't a shrieking imbecile. Jason! Every chance this sped gets to call the cops and inform them that his son's been abducted by a serial killer who handed him a box of clues that lead to his location invariably ends with him cramming his dick in a meat grinder to prove his fatherly dedication. Oh, please, dipshit, whatever you do, don't prove your familial devotion by informing the proper authorities. After all, their equipment, preparation, and manpower would probably just slow you down. Clearly, chopping off your own index finger at the request of a homicidal madman is the superior strategy. This isn't just me nitpicking either. David Cage and the rest of the beret-bedecked bourgeoisie at Quantic Dream are clearly trying to make the player feel sympathy for the man throughout Heavy Rain. The problem is that it's hard to empathize with a pants-shitting retard unless you are in fact a pants-shitting retard, which I suppose explains the high score the game received over at Kotaku.com. Zing! On the positive side, I do have to compliment Quantic Dream on conveying a strong sense of setting in each and every environment that the dull, lifeless mannequins masquerading as main characters find themselves struggling to navigate in. From the smoky, noir-tinged office of a private detective to the unsettling, dust-caked home of a taxidermist, every area feels artistically crafted, if not precisely interactive. Oh sure, you can open every door in the kitchen or go outside and shoot hoops, but the question you really have to ask yourself is, why bother? None of these things affect the gameplay experience or connect you any more deeply with any of the characters, so they're basically vapid time wasters with no legitimate benefits. And considering that most of the segments in which they appear have a time limit, they actively hinder the gameplay in a pretty major way. Another problem with the game is voice acting. Now, I try not to deride the mentally retarded more than once per review, so we'll just say in the name of political correctness that the voice actors in Heavy Rain had a very different elementary school schedule than you or I. Seems to me that every character that supposedly hails from nondescript city USA studied basic English pronunciation in Paris, France.
I'd give anything if you could come back to life.
Now cling fast to your armrest as I divulge this fun fact about myself, Rageaholics. I am, in fact, quite a Francophile. I love French films, French comics, French food, and French toast, which imbues me with the uncanny ability to be able to understand even the most broken English when delivered with a French accent. That said, would it have cost that much more money for Quantic Dream to hire a few actual Americans to provide the voices for Heavy Rain's American characters? Hell, the big reveal in Heavy Rain comes out of the mouth of a kid so French that taking what amounts to a bath actually results in his untimely death. Look, kid, I know snails tend to congregate in moist places, but try to keep your footing next time.
Well, I guess you could say he surrendered to the water current.
Yeah, okay, enough with the French jokes. As I said at the beginning, I liked this game. It wasn't what I expected, and it wasn't deserving of the near-perfect scores it received on mainstream video game websites, especially considering the greatest challenge the game presents you with is moving your fucking character in the environment. However, if you like a good point-and-click mystery game, Heavy Rain is right up your alley, so buy it and shut your fucking yap. I'm Razor Fist, au revoir, and God fucking speed.
Please, Anne. His name. What was his name?
Come closer.
Jason!